Hi there, welcome to the reading corner. So today I am here with the second chapter review of How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. So let's start the video. So today I'm going to discuss chapter 2 from part 1, and the chapter is The Big Secret of Dealing with People. You can see. At first I'm going to read a story. One of the first people in American business to be paid a salary of over $1 million a year was Charles Schwab. He had been picked by Andrew Carnegie to become the first president of the newly formed United States Steel Company in 1921, when Schwab was only 38 years old. Why did Andrew Carnegie pay $1 million a year, or more than $3,000 a day, to Charles Schwab? Why? Because Schwab was a genius? No. Because he knew more about the manufacture of steel than other people? Nonsense. Charles Schwab told me himself that he had many men working for him who knew more about the manufacture of steel than he did. Schwab says that he was paid this salary largely because of his ability to deal with people. I asked him how he did it. Here is his secret set down in his own words. Words that ought to be cast in eternal bronze and hung in every home and school, every shop and office in the land. Words that children ought to memorize instead of wasting their time memorizing the conjugation of Latin verbs or the amount of the annual rainfall in Brazil. Words that will all but transform your life and mine if we will only leave them. I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people, said Schwab, the greatest asset I possess, and the way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. There is nothing else that so kills the ambitions of a person as criticism from superiors. I never criticize anyone. I believe in giving a person incentive to work. So I am anxious to praise but loath to find fault. If I like anything, I am hearty in my approbation and lavish in my praise. When I was reading this part, I was thinking about my mom. Every day she follows a routine from waking up to going to the bed at night. There is no change in her routine. She wake up, she does her household chores, and then she cook for us. And instead of appreciating her work, her hard work, we criticize her. She makes delicious food every day. But if one day she forgets to give a little more salt in the curry, or if she gives a lot more chili, we'll get angry and say that what do you do at home every day? You do nothing and you just only cook and you can't even cook properly. We do that, right? We criticize her whenever she makes a mistake in her work or in her cooking. One day what happened, I was having my lunch with my mother, and there was a little less salt in a curry, and I said that it doesn't taste good. And after saying that, I don't know, I just looked at her face and she was sad. Suddenly the feeling of guilt occurred. I was feeling so guilty that what I have just done. She cooks for us every day and she makes delicious food, but if any day she makes any mistake in her work, we criticize her. But we don't appreciate her when she cooks delicious food most of the days. So from that day, I'm not just saying this thing, I'm not just telling the story because I just have to give you a real life example of the chapter that I've read. No, I'm just saying it because that I failed. Maybe at the time I did not realize the power of appreciation, but I realized it by reading this book, by reading the chapter. From that day onwards, I never criticize her. But now if she forgets to give salt in the curry, I don't criticize her. Instead, I add a little salt in the curry when I have the food. So it has impacted a lot in our relationship. She feels happy these days while cooking. She loves to cook more delicious food for us. So this thing is applicable in every field, every situation, every relationship. Let's say you are a leader and you want to run your team effortlessly, you want to give a good impression of yourself on your team, then you have to follow these rules. You have to appreciate your team members. You can't criticize them at first. You remind them of the rules and regulation that we have read in the first chapter from part 1, and appreciation is about the second chapter of part 1. So that's what I have understood, and you can see that I have also quoted a lot of things. Actually, whenever I read, if I come in contact with any beautiful lines, any effective lines, then I highlight them, because later it helps me when I'm making the video or when I'm discussing this thing with my friends or my teacher. So that's the thing. Let me read another thing from this chapter. One of the most neglected virtues of our daily existence is appreciation. Somehow we neglect to praise our son or daughter when he or she brings home a good report card, and we fail to encourage our children when they first succeed in baking a cake or building a birdhouse. Nothing pleases children more than this kind of parental interest and approval. So we see this thing in this generation. I have seen a lot of parents around me, they don't appreciate their children when they come home with good marks. Instead, they compare them with a child in their neighbor, like, go see your friend, he has got more marks than you, and you, what you are doing, you have just got 80 in math. It's pathetic. I have seen this thing in my life so many times, and I get so frustrated when I see this thing. This is the most dangerous way of parenting, like, really. So instead of criticizing your children, instead of comparing them with others, appreciate them for what they're doing. Then later they will automatically come home with more good marks. So that's what I have learned from the chapter 2. I know that I made a lot of mistakes. I could not share the way I wanted, because when I think that that's how I'm going to review this chapter, I'm going to sit in front of the camera and I'm going to say this thing and that thing. But when I sit in front of the camera, I don't know, nothing comes in my mind, and what I wanted to say, that I can't say. So you may hear a lot of noise in this video because my house is like very near to the road, so every sound are caught, and there is also song playing in the club because it is Durga Puja, and these days they play song after Mahalaya. Please forgive me for that. And because there was no other way I could shoot this video, later they will stop playing the song after Durga Puja, so I can't just stop myself and I can't sit at my room without doing anything, like without shooting any videos. So please adjust and let me know what kind of mistakes I made, and if you have any other perspective of this chapter, then don't hesitate to write down on the comment section. So that's it for today. If you are new here, then don't forget to subscribe my channel, and if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and comment below what kind of videos you want to watch next, because I am running out of topics to make videos. So that's it for today. See you in another video. Bye.